another in the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, compelling America to be true to its stated ideals in the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. Like the great African-American poet Langston Hughes, the activists whose stories we tell here wanted America to be America again. Or was it for the first time? As Hughes wrote, "America never was America to me," and yet the longing and the faith that it could be remained real to him. The nation's founding betrayal, the first and most profound way in which it failed to make true its promise, was the perpetuation of slavery, which George Washington himself called a foul stain of manhood. While the soaring idealism of the original American Revolution inspired widespread hopes and moved many slaves and economically dispossessed to join Washington's Continental Army, only a small minority of enslaved African Americans, who made up 1/5 of the infant nation's population, won their freedom after the war. Indeed, a majority of the men who signed the Declaration of Independence were slave owners, including Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison. And those who opposed slavery in principle, like John Adams and Benjamin Franklin, never took decisive action on behalf of the nascent abolition movement. Washington's young French general, Marquis de Lafayette, who was like a surrogate son, tried but failed to convince the father of the nation to free the men and women held in bondage on his Mount Vernon plantation. Lafayette later summed up the betrayal of the revolution's ideals with bitter eloquence. "I would never have drawn my sword in the cause of America if I could have conceived thereby that I was founding a land of slavery." If men like Washington, Jefferson, Madison, Franklin, and Adams had risen to the brilliance of their language and followed through on the grand experiment, in Lafayette's words, to liberate all of King George III's subjects, then America would have been spared history's terrible reckoning. But as the historian Gary B. Nash ruefully noted, 80 years later, more than 600,000 American lives were lost accomplishing the goal of emancipation, roughly one for each of the slaves in the new United States as of 1785. The first American Revolution abandoned not only its enslaved population. During the War of Independence, Native American tribes, including even those who sided with the Patriots against the British, came under relentless onslaughts from white frontiersmen, militias, settlers, and even regiments of Washington's army. In a genocidal pattern that would be widely repeated for the next 200 years, peace-minded tribal chiefs were ambushed, villages torched, men, women, and children massacred, treaties falsely made and soon broken. Women, too, were disappointed by the expectations the American Revolution raised and dashed. Many of them had aided the Patriots' cause in various ways, with socially established women gathering funds for the perennially ragged Continental Army, and the wives and lovers of soldiers serving as unsung camp followers, nursing their wounds, washing their uniforms. One of the liveliest ongoing debates over women's emancipation took place in the Massachusetts home of John Adams, where his wife, Abigail, kept up a constant drumbeat for America's leaders to remember the ladies. Women must be allowed to at least have a voice in lawmaking, argued Abigail Adams, since all men would be tyrants if they could, she wrote her husband in 1776. But Adams generally deflected his wife's political advice, believing in the sovereignty of elite white male leaders like himself. John Adams worried that the revolution had left colonial society's lower orders unconstrained, and he was not alone in his anxiety. In 1776, he wrote from the Continental Congress in Philadelphia, "We have been told that our struggle has loosened the bands of government everywhere, that children and apprentices were disobedient, that schools and colleges were grown turbulent, that Indians slighted their guardians and Negroes grew insolent to their masters." Adams fretted, "There will be no end of it. New